to our town hall and a story that a lot of you have been reading on WGRZ.com about student loan debt. It's a call to wipe out billions of dollars in what students owe.
Yeah, New York's senior U.S. Senator Chuck Schumer announced this proposal late last week. It's a resolution calling on the president to forgive up to $50,000 of federal debt per student. The argument here is that students who graduated college this year or recently just haven't been able to get a job with unemployment so high, and that's really left their debt piling up as the pandemic drags on.
And regardless of whether this actually gets a vote, the idea is certainly something that's worth discussing.
So let's discuss it. We welcome to the show right now Howard Dvorkin, who is chairman of Debt.com and also a personal finance expert. Thanks so much for coming on. We appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
So Howard, just first put this into perspective for us, how big a problem the student loan debt is now and how much worse it's been made by the pandemic.
Student debt is a massive problem. There's 43 million loans out there. And frankly, they're all shapes and sizes. Some are governmental loans, some are private student loans provided through banks. It is a huge, huge problem. Unfortunately, it's a problem that needs to be addressed, but not at the governmental level as much as it needs to be addressed at the collegiate level, meaning costs of education are going up by 8% on average a year. And as such, the costs are escalating more than people's incomes are escalating. So the colleges need to start to live on a budget and basically run a business effectively and efficiently. The problem with what Schumer came out with, and Schumer and Warren to be correct, it's a nice idea, but it's theatrics. First of all, we're talking 43 million loans out there. That's well over $1 trillion. Of student debt that would be forgiven. I don't think the current president, or any president for that matter, has the ability to sign a piece of paper and waive $1 trillion. More importantly, it's somewhat unfair for to allow, because of this pandemic, the exclusion of these $50,000 loans. Because what about all those folks that struggled to make payments every month for years and years? What happens to them? I personally believe, and the people at Debt.com believe, that maybe a different scenario, a different suggestion, like going through and reducing the interest rate that these loans carry on them. Some are 8, some are 7, some are 9% interest rates. What happens if the government reduced the interest rates down to 1% and basically started to reinvest in their people by giving them below market rates in order to better themselves?
Yeah, Howard, you kind of answered the next question I was going to ask, so I'm going to do a bit of a curveball here, and I'm curious what you think. I've always found it interesting, maybe puzzling, how much money the federal government makes on some of these loans. You mentioned the interest rates. Do you see any instance in which Congress could change that and stop making so much money on the interest of these loans?
Congress can definitely do that, whether they will or not. I mean, the fact of the matter is, when I said originally that this is theatric, all this is unfortunately election issues that are meant to make the president look bad and make the Democratic Party look good. And I'm not trying to get into politics, but it's kind of upsetting that people are struggling out there, but they're not coming up with a true answer. To waive possibly $2 trillion of money, who's going to pay for that? You're kicking the can down the road and expecting future generations to pay for this. And it's not right. At the end of the day, people get an education in order to better themselves. They spend the money, they invest in themselves, hoping to get a better job, and in a lot of cases do get much better jobs. And then why should the person that paid off their debt support the person that is not paying for his student loans. I mean, I am a consumer advocate, clearly, but I do believe in fairness. And to me, that proposal just doesn't seem fair.
So much to discuss, but we are going to have to leave it there. Howard Dvorkin, chairman of Debt.com, thanks again for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Howard. And thank you, everybody, for watching today at 5:30. We'll see you back here tomorrow.